Today is day 22 for my Bonne Maman advent calendar. Let's see what's behind door number 22.
Counter cooking. No kitchen, no problem.
So here's door number 22. It's right in the middle. And we have orange Mandarin passion fruit spread. I don't think I've had this one before. Here is the fruit spread. It smells like an orange marmalade. And it tastes like an orange marmalade. But it's not like super tart. I think the passion fruit helps to mellow it out a little bit. It almost kind of reminds me of a creamsicle. Today I thought I would make roti, which is a flatbread from India. And when I was looking at recipes, I was really surprised that the recipes for it are almost exactly the same as the recipes for Navajo fry bread. The proportions of the ingredients between roti from India and fry bread from the Native Americans are pretty much exactly the same. So based on the fry bread experiments that I did and the roti recipes that I've researched, I've reduced the proportions down to a half a cup of flour, which is what I have in the bowl right now, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to sprinkle some salt in. That should be fine. I don't like things really salty. And now I want to add 1.5 teaspoons of either oil or melted butter. To make things easy, I am just going to use some olive oil that I have. So there's 1 teaspoon of olive oil. And there's a half teaspoon of olive oil. For Indian roti, it says to add warm water or hot water. So I'm going to heat up some water and then I'll add that also. While the water's heating up, I'm just going to mix in the oil. And actually, now that I think about it, the other difference is that this does not have baking powder. So the Navajo fry bread included baking powder and this recipe does not include baking powder. But other than that, the proportions are pretty much the same. I'm just trying to squeeze the oil into the flour so we have like a crumbly consistency. So I want to add 1.3 ounces of warm water. So this is 1 ounce. I think I'm just going to mix in the 1 ounce and see where we stand before I add more than that. This is really sticky right now. Look at how sticky that is. I think I'm definitely going to add like a little bit more water. So here's like another 1/3 of an ounce. I'm just kneading the dough a little bit and trying to decide if I want to add a little bit more water because it is a little bit on the dry side. And I think I will. I'm just going to add like a few drops. So this dough feels really good right now. It's just a little bit sticky, but it works. So there's the dough, and for roti it says you want to let the dough rest at least a half hour, if not an hour. So I'm going to cover this and then I'll be back in like an hour. The dough has been resting for almost an hour, so let's try to make some roti. Here's my Dash mini griddle. The blue light is on. Once the blue light goes off, we're ready to start cooking our roti. They say you want to cook this in some butter, so I'm going to put some butter in the bottom of this Dash mini griddle. There we have the butter. I cut the dough into 4 pieces and I rolled out 1/4 of the dough. Let's see what happens. It's supposed to cook really fast, but since this is a Dash mini griddle and we can't control the heat or anything, I don't know how it's gonna be. There's a lot of steam coming out. Smells good. I'm gonna open this. And that's what it looks like. I am gonna flip it over. So there is some bubbling going on and there's a little bit of browning going on this side. Let's cook it for another minute. That was just about 1 minute on the first side. It's been about a minute on the second side. To me, this looks really good. So let's take it off. And I'm gonna roll out another one now. They say you want to roll them out as thinly as possible. Okay, I just rolled another one out and let's put that one in there. So while the second one is cooking, let's check out this first one. This is what it looks like. It's thinner than the fry bread was. This one has some oil in it and there's quite a bit of butter in the pan. This is good. It tastes really similar to the Navajo fry bread, but it's richer because it does have some oil in the dough and we fried it in butter. Also, I think it has a softer texture because of the oil. Let's check on number 2. So this one doesn't have as much butter in the Dash mini griddle, so it might be a little bit different, but I would just want to see what happens if we don't put a lot of butter in. So I'm really happy with this. I think it came out delicious. Now I'm going to try today's fruit spread on this piece. Yeah, that is good. That is really good. I was going to say just imagine a really thin, chewy flatbread, but it basically is a flour tortilla. To me, it tastes a lot like a homemade flour tortilla. So here's number 2. I'm ready for number 3. Putting some butter. They're really good with the butter. There's number 3. I'm heating up the pizzelle maker so we could see what happens if we try to cook one in there. And then number 3 is ready to be flipped. Here's number 3 after another minute. Looks really good. The blue light just went off, so let's open this up. Let's put the dough in. Let's shut it. So this time it actually shuts. So I rolled it out a lot thinner. So I made about half of the amount of dough that I made for the Indian fry bread, and I cut it into 4 pieces. So each one is using less dough, and I rolled each one out thinner. And I might have spoke too soon because as you can see, it's not actually closed anymore. It felt like it was closed, but it's not closed. Maybe it's not going to rise because there's no baking powder in it. Oh no, guys, look. Look, there's a bubble forming. Can you see that on the right-hand side? There's a bubble forming again. It's not as big as yesterday's bubble, but it's almost in the same location. If you look at it now, you can see that it looks like it's much more open than it was when I first put it in. Let's check on it. Yeah, so we have the same thing going on where this side is closed more, so it's cooking better than this side, but do you see like this big bubble area? So let's turn it over. Now, I did cook some chocolate cookies in this pizzelle maker last night, so that's probably what this is because I am smelling chocolate. Let's cook it for another minute. Okay, it's been another minute, so let's take this out. And this one's definitely flatter and crisper. So these are the other 3 roti that I cooked. The first one I ate was absolutely delicious. Now these other 2 should be pretty much identical to what I just ate. The only difference would be this one that was in the pizzelle maker. So I just want to cut it open. And let's just taste this one. I mean, It's definitely flatter. It's not as soft, but it's still good. It has good flavor. It has good texture. And I'd be very happy eating this. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to spread some of this fruit spread on this one and enjoy it. You could see it's obviously stiffer than a tortilla would be. Whereas these are more pliable. See how they're softer? Now they do say it's a good idea to steam these before eating them or serving them. So basically after you cook them, put them in like a Ziploc bag with some paper towels, and that helps them steam. Or you could put them in like a tortilla steamer. They say that helps to keep them pliable and soft, but I mean, I'm enjoying them how they are. And I think these are a really convenient food to be able to make in a Dash mini griddle. And of course, they're really cheap to make. All you need is some flour, a little bit of fat. You could either use some butter or some oil and some warm water. And you can make a really nice flatbread with it. And so that's how you can make roti in a Dash mini griddle. And that's what I did with the fruit spread from my Bonne Maman advent calendar today. I'm having a warm roti with some peanut butter and the fruit spread. Let's try it this way. Let's put a little curry powder on it. So now we have peanut butter, the orange marmalade type fruit spread, and some of my favorite Madras curry powder. That is good. This is my favorite curry powder. That was so good. I'm going in for another one the same way. Peanut butter, orange marmalade, and curry powder.